Yeah. Yeah. Chicks out there would like to party. Listen up, yeah, it's time.
Well, hello, my berries. It's me, Darkberry32, and today, as you can see by the title, we're going to make roasted vegetables with steak. And this is just some of the ingredients. You're going to also need other things like oil and things like that, but I got some sirloin steak. I got some yummy potatoes. I love me some potatoes, honey. Sometimes they don't love me, but I love potatoes. Then I got a zucchini. I got some squash, red onion, and red and yellow peppers, but you can do any kind of peppers. You can do green peppers or whatever, and you can mix this up. But I just kind of wanted to show you what I do. So I'm going to start here by chopping my potatoes, because that is the first thing that you're going to want to get into the oven, because the potatoes are going to take a little bit longer to cook. So I have my oven set, I believe it's at 375. And I'm going to dice these potatoes up. I'm going to put them in a bowl, season them up. So like you saw, I have 2 potatoes. So I'm going to dice them up the exact same. You want to make sure that your vegetables are all the same size. Look like we just lost one. I think one just committed suicide. Just jumped over the edge. Did not want to be cooked. So like I said, you want to make sure that your vegetables are all the same size. And so here I am cutting the second potato, and you're going to put these, you're going to season them however you want to season them. For me, I did use some balsamic vinaigrette. I used, I think, garlic powder, pepper. The balsamic vinaigrette worked out really well on these vegetables. Like, it was really a surprising ingredient that I wanted to add, because I wanted to give it just a little bit of acid or acidity, if you will, to kind of punch up the flavor. But yeah, so I think it's going to be bueno, bueno, bueno. So now you see I got my potatoes all cut up. And like I said, this is where we want to, start adding our olive oil. You want to kind of make sure you put quite a bit on there, because you want them to kind of be, crispy on the outside and a little bit moist on the inside. So, and then as you see here, I'm adding a Creole seasoning. And this particular Creole seasoning, I got it from my grocery store, and it doesn't have a lot of sodium. Lots of flavor, but not a lot of sodium. So we want to try to punch this up, because literally I wanted to make this a nice, quick, healthy meal where you don't have to do a whole lot. So and you're pretty much letting the oven do everything. So I'm just gonna sit here and get this stuff all stirred up, and then we're gonna pop it in the oven for a good 15-20 minutes max for the potatoes. We're gonna put it on a cookie sheet, and there you go. There's that balsamic vinaigrette, and I added this to the potatoes and also to the other vegetables as well. And y'all, I'm telling you, it's so good. Now, this is, I think it's Ken's House balsamic vinaigrette. I believe that was the brand, but you can pretty much have whatever brand you want. I prefer this brand because I usually always love this brand when it comes to like I love their blue cheese. I know a lot of people don't like blue cheese, but I love blue cheese. So here you go. I have a cookie sheet here, and then I put my liner on top of my cookie sheet, just so it'd be less cleanup, to be honest with you. All I would have to do was clean off. All I had to do was clean off this mat. Now, you see I'm spreading my potatoes out. Don't crowd. How can I say this? So if you're going to make 2 batches of this, use 2 different pans, because you don't want to crowd your pan up. You want these potatoes to come out just a little bit crispy and, like I said, moist. If you crowd them up on the pan, then they start to kind of steam, and you kind of want the skin to be a little crispy. So that's why you see me spreading them out. Now I'm going to go ahead, because I forgot to add the pepper in the bowl, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little pepper on top of each of the potatoes. And y'all, when I tell y'all, my husband and I, we love this meal. It was really, really good. And One other good thing about it is that it was ready to go. We had leftovers and we could pack it off to work or eat it the next day for lunch, and it was really easy to reheat it all. So here I am going to add a little garlic powder and then just a tad bit of salt. And I like the fact that most of the seasoning that I had did not have a lot of salt in it, so I can control the salt on my food. I don't have to put a lot, so which is very important in our older age. So yeah, there I am seasoning a little bit more there with that garlic powder. There we go. Now I have already put, well, I'm actually probably waiting for the oven to reheat. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and get my steak seasoning. And you can season your steak with any, seasoning of your choice. I actually like this. I live here in Texas, and we have a grocery store, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, called H-E-B. And H-E-B carries this Fiesta brand. And if you're able to get that Fiesta brand and that steak seasoning, I highly recommend, highly recommend that you buy some, because I usually put that stuff on about any and everything, and it makes it taste good, chicken and everything. So now the oven has reached its temperature of 375, and so now I'm going to slide those potatoes in for, like I said, I'm going to set the oven for about 15 minutes, so we'll be good to go. So yeah. Now I have my cast iron skillet, and I did put some vegetable oil at the bottom. Not vegetable oil, I'm sorry. I put olive oil on it because olive oil can withstand some heat. And I have these sirloin steaks, season them up with just that steak seasoning. Now I'm just going to let them sit in there and, cook evenly on both sides. We kind of prefer our stuff a little pink in the middle. If it was up to Earl, he would want it brown all the way, but I actually prefer a little pink because I don't want it to be too dry. I don't want the meat to be dry. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started on the zucchini. And again, look, I'm getting them sliced at the same size as those potatoes, because what we're going to do is once the 15 minutes is up on those potatoes, they're not going to be done. The potatoes are not going to be done, but they'll be more advanced in their cooking. Like, I'm going to use that same bowl because all that seasoning is in there. But we're going to, once we season all of these and the 15 minutes is up on the potatoes, we're going to start adding the zucchini, the onions, the squash, the peppers, all of the yummy things. And y'all, again, I cannot stress enough. I think I'm going to try to make this more often, actually, and maybe try to use different vegetables and stuff like that. Oh, and I did forget to tell y'all, wash your vegetables off. I did wash my vegetables. I just didn't show it on camera, but make sure you do wash your vegetables, because everybody in their mama in the store touching on your stuff, and you don't know if it fell on the floor, whatever. So you make sure you wash all of your vegetables, all of them. So yeah. You know what else I think would have been really good, and I had and forgot to add, was mushrooms. I guess zucchini tried to kill himself too. So now we're going to start with the, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the yellow peppers. Yeah, I had I think of mushrooms, and I think mushrooms would have been really good in this too, because a lot of people like steak and mushrooms together. So steak, mushrooms, potatoes, vegetables. It is like a fancy dinner, but just like all chopped up together. So that's what makes it so easy. I mean, and even just think about this. You can prepare this ahead of time. Like, think about it. Coming home from work, you don't have to. And I was doing this on a weekend. But just think about it. You can do this, have the vegetables all cut up. You can come home from work, turn that oven on, get those potatoes in the oven, steak, and whatever kind of, protein you want to have. You can even do chicken if you want. Or pork, but you can do anything like this and have it ready to go, and child, throw that stuff on the cookie sheet and you are good to go. So yeah, let's just sit here and watch me get this onion all cut up, honey. So I did do red onion, but you can do, I think the yellow onion, white onion you can do. But you see how chunky I'm doing it? I want all of those pieces to be about the same size. So yeah, very chunky vegetable, and everything's good. So good. And then look, so pretty. So pretty and colorful. All of that. Red, yellow, green, purple. Like, that is so pretty. And, you know, they do say we eat with our eyes. So there's still balsamic vinaigrette in there. I'm going to add a little bit more because we want a lot of flavor. And then I added some more of that Creole seasoning. Look at that. Nice and peppery. A little bit more olive oil. And if you guys are wondering, like, where the olive oil is in, I had an old wine bottle. I had this when I lived in the other house. And I just bought some little stoppers from Amazon, and I made my own wine bottles. And I think it just gives it a nice, I don't know, authentic, like, look like, you know, the old school Italian type of kitchen. So the steaks have been cooking for a little while. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn them over, and you see the heat that's coming off of it. That's why you want to use olive oil, because vegetable oil it'll get to, I don't know, start burning. So I do like an oil that can take really high heat. But doesn't that steak look good? I love good steak. So yeah. So now I'm waiting on the potatoes to cook. Now y'all know what I'm about to say, because you see what your girl is doing. Clean up. Ain't nothing gonna happen to that steak while it's sitting on the fire. Ain't nothing gonna happen to the potatoes while it's sitting in the oven. So take this opportunity to go ahead and clean up your kitchen. Put your seasonings away, so that way when you sit down to a meal, you don't have to worry if the kitchen is dirty. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to say, if this is your first time coming over to Darkberry 32, hello, and go ahead and subscribe. What are you waiting on? It's free, honey. We do everything on a budget over here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button, share the video if you don't mind, and also like, because that helps YouTube recognize that, hey, that I actually, you know, am doing something over here and you guys actually like it. So yeah, do that for me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and share. Why? Because sharing is caring, and my name is Karen, so why wouldn't you share? All right. Now, I'm turning y'all around so y'all can see. It is time to do some cleaning, wash your hands, all the good stuff, and you don't have to worry about it. And that's really big for me. I like to go ahead and get things done where I don't have to worry about anything. So yeah. So I got this particular knife and I really like it. I don't put it in the dishwasher. I always hand wash it. I really do. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I purchased this knife for $100 because I saw Tom Colicchio from Top Chef advertise this knife, and I wanted a really good knife because I cook a lot. So there's no sponsor or anything like that, but if you want a really good knife, Made In is the brand. I don't have a link or anything like that, but I'm sure you just go to madein.com or something like that. But I really like the knife, and I treat it like, almost treat it like as a child. You know, like, I think Earl tried to put it in a dishwasher. I'm like, no, it doesn't go in the dishwasher, and it has to always be returned into its little package there. Look at that steak. It looks so good. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the temperature down on it. Let it kind of cook a little bit more, but also at the same time, I'm going to let it rest, because when it's time to cut it open, I don't want the juices to be running everywhere. I want the juices to be retained in that steak so I can eat it. And look at those vegetables. Look how nice. And look at the seasonings all over it. So now it's time to take those potatoes out of the oven. They've been in for 15 minutes, and that's what they're looking like. Now there's the vegetables that we're going to add to the while I get all set up. I guess I could have edited this part out, but hey, this is real time here. Now you get to see what's really going on behind the scenes when you're doing a cooking video and how much time it actually takes. And then Earl was in the living room watching a show, so it's not like I mean, I could have talked, but then he would have had all of that, you know, TV stuff playing in the background. So I just told him, I said, don't worry about it. I'll do a voiceover. So that way you know, I can give you guys, tell you guys exactly what I'm, you know, doing and stuff. So now I'm kind of testing them out and seeing, you know, how done they are. And they still could stand to be in there a little bit longer. So which is perfect because we're going to put all these vegetables all over now. It's not going to take long for this. I think I put everything in and we let them cook for 20 minutes. So you can do 15 to 20 minutes at the beginning with the potatoes, and then when you put all these vegetables on the pan with the potatoes at the same temperature, you do not need to adjust the temperature, and let this cook for 20 minutes, and you watch how glorious this looks when it comes out of the oven. I mean, look at it already. That is, y'all can't tell me that don't look good. I mean, unless you just really, really, truly, truly don't like a vegetable, you cannot tell me this doesn't look good. I so enjoyed cooking this. It was just way too easy. And I'm going to tell you that balsamic vinaigrette took the guesswork out of the flavor that you actually want. Because remember, we did season our steak with steak seasoning. And then with the it's almost like having a warm salad with a potato and your steak. It's like almost like a really good steakhouse meal. So I'm just going to make sure I get all of this all on the pan. So pretty. Such a good meal. So I say too, keep this meal in your back pocket for if you have guests or something coming over. You can run to the grocery store real fast, pick up these few little pieces of vegetables, and I think they would be really impressed. With a glass of wine, honey, you're done. And even if you wanted to get like a frozen roll or frozen bread or something like that and stick it in the oven, you got yourself a complete meal. So yeah. So here I am. I guess I could have edited all this out, but hey y'all, your girl has had a pretty hard week. Yeah. So I think even on this particular, I think this was, I'm trying to even think what day was this. I don't know if this was a Saturday or a Sunday night, but yeah, there was a lot going on this particular. So now, as you see, I'm taking it out, taking the steak out of the pan, and what I'm gonna do, since it's already been resting in the pan, now it's time. I'm using that knife again, but I love that knife. I'm telling y'all. Look how easy it is. That's a sirloin steak, y'all. Look at that. Look how, see that? Just barely pink. It's not, I mean, I could actually go even pinker, but I knew that I was, you know, cooking for my husband, so let me do a little compromise. But it was so nice and juicy. So nice and juicy and flavorful. And what I'm trying to do is, you know, cube the steak so that it's about the same size as, you know, all of the other vegetables. So I'm just going to go ahead and add it in the bowl. And then when those vegetables are done, I'm going to toss those vegetables in there and toss everything together. So just think about if you put this in a nice, beautiful glass bowl or a glass or a casserole dish, you know, afterwards, put that in the middle of the table with, like I said, some crusty bread if you wanted to. that. I couldn't help myself. And then, you know, glass of wine, glass of punch, whatever even a glass of beer or just a glass of water if you wanted to. But yeah, so there's the steak. Yum, yum, yum. So I was gonna try to do this meal with just 2 steaks, and I was like, oh, I can save the other steak for tomorrow, and we can have, I don't know, steak sandwiches or something like that. Child, we ate all that steak. We had some leftovers, but it called for that amount of steak. So if you don't want to use as much, you don't have to. But I know, like, some people, they want a bite of meat with just about everything, you know. Look at me. See, that was good. When it make your eyes close, you know it's good. All right, so let's look. Oh, those vegetables are done. They are done. So now it is time to add those vegetables. Like, I'm trying to figure out my setup, like how am I going to set this up so that you guys can see everything. I don't know. Let me see, how am I going to do this? All right. Maybe I'll look to the stove where all of the kitchen magic happens. So there are the vegetables and the potatoes and the steak in the bowl. So basically now I'm just going to transfer all of that yummy goodness in with the steak. And it's just this easy, y'all. It didn't take any time. Now, one thing that I think I probably would have did, like I told y'all about the mushrooms, I probably would use some of the juices and the oil that's left in the cast iron skillet and maybe saute those mushrooms in there and then toss those in there last. Or, I don't know, maybe you could have added them to the baking sheet, but all the flavors. So look, I got tired of messing around with those tongs. I was like, give me a spatula because, honey, I'm hungry and I'm ready to eat. And it looked so good to me. And let me tell y'all how I got this idea, because my husband was like, what made you do this? I was walking during lunch with a coworker and she mentioned roasted vegetables and my mind took off from there. It just took off from there. I'm like, okay, all right. I looked up a few videos and I'm like, I saw one lady that used balsamic vinaigrette. I saw somebody make their own sauce and I'm like, hey, I like the fact that you can use these salad dressings, because especially vinaigrettes, because it has the oil in it too. And then it has a lot of flavor. So that's how I came up with this idea. So you guys can do the same, you know. I don't care if you bite off of me. Go ahead and do this. And then if you do it, let me know, like, what kind of twist that you did or what you ate with it or what your family thought of it. Like, I would be really curious to know if you guys are going to actually try some of these recipes, because I try to do things that's really easy and don't have a lot of ingredients, and that you can actually kind of flip it and do it the way that you want to. Now, y'all watch what I'm about to do. Watch what your girl's going to do. I'm not going to leave all that flavor in that pan. No, sir. No, ma'am. So there you go. That's what I was saying. I could have used that if I wanted to, and saute mushrooms in there too. Y'all look at that. You know, also with that, you could probably, if you wanted to season it with like cumin and a little chili powder, you could. And you could actually take that mixture and put it in a tortilla, you know? Or if you wanted, like I said, bread, you could get a crusty roll. Just take a scoop of that and put it in there. If you really want to be greedy, you can put that in a bun. So there's all types of ways that you can do it. I mean, you know your family and you know what they like to eat. So, you know, you just tailor it your way. But I am very interested in knowing how you guys did this. Some people would probably want to put cheese, you know, feta, some type of grated cheese, because my husband did mention feta cheese. So you can do it all types of ways. But look, I'm making him a very generous plate because I feel like the meal is healthy enough. It's not, a burger and fries and stuff like that. I mean, you get tired of that and you want to have some vegetables every now and then, and feel like you're eating really, really well. So that is his plate, and look how it's like piping hot. So I'm putting his plate on the table, and then I'm gonna come and make mine. And I'm ready, honey. I am ready to eat. So let's just watch me make this scrumptious dillyumptious plate. You see, we got some pretty nice portion sizes, but we still are gonna have a lot left over. And I think we did go back a couple of times and like pull out, our little favorite pieces of the meal and put some. But I was so full afterwards. I was so full. Oh, did y'all see that? That zucchini just flew off on the floor. Because he said, "You're not gonna eat me. You already done paid me, but you're not gonna look. I put an extra one in my plate because I ain't playing." So let's see what Earl thinks. He gave me the thumbs up, so I think he was happy with it. Because I think he did take some later on. Now it's my turn. I'm excited. Look at that. And yes, honey, we use paper plates and plastic, so I don't have to worry about cooking. Look, that's a good bite of all the vegetables. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and give me a comment below and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.